All right.
6, 5 to lead, 4 lead, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to the 700 Club. There was an election in Texas a few years ago. We saw that bridge cut out. We went over Lake Pontchartrain, enormous lake that had flooded that city, and we saw huge mansions in addition to the smaller places that had been just totally inundated. The Congress doesn't seem to want to deal with it, whether it's Republican or Democrat.
They're scared to death. And by the way, that's not an entirely irrational thought.
CBN presents the 700 Club.
I spoke to Shimon Peres with this question. There's been 4 wars now in the Middle East. Do you think that a 5th war is probable?
I wouldn't exclude it. I believe it's possible to avoid. I'm hopeful about it.
Just as this gigantic wall was one of the wonders of the world, so the emerging China is going to be one of the wonders of the world. What would you do to straighten this country out?
This economy needs to grow.
If Congress gives you a trade protectionist bill having either a tariff or a surcharge or some other name, will you veto it?
I will have to.
I think that President Bush and his advisors have pulled a diplomatic coup by initiating a ceasefire plan with the French. If you deal with Hezbollah, is the Lebanese army prepared to come in and take the burden?
I think he has no choice.
There was this disconnect, too, between foreign intelligence and domestic intelligence, and agencies didn't talk to each other. Do they now talk to each other the way they're supposed to?
Yeah, they do. Maybe we could take a time right now to take a look at that interview that Harold had with President Sadat, because it was a moving event.
Let us make this day a day for prayer for Christians, Muslims, and Jews to join hearts and voices in prayer for peace in the Middle East. May I add that this prayer every year in this same day I shall be doing myself.
White or black, in religious terms in Henning, Tennessee, you were either Methodist or Baptist, or you were a sinner.
I understand.
In that town.
I
you know
understand.
that kind of town.
Sure.
And so we all grew up, I would say by the time I was 11 years old, in story terms, my head was a jumble of David and Goliath and Chicken George and Moses and Miss Kizzy.
If Hebron became part of the Palestinian entity, you have a nice time when you're interviewing Hillary Clinton and Rick Lazio, and there was a statement that Lazio made about the condition at Buffalo. You passed it off because you thought the important thing was what you were dealing with. You'd caught him in something, and your father said, that isn't it. What did he catch?
Yeah, there was a debate between Hillary Clinton and Rick Lazio.
The most powerful symbol of German unity is opening between East and West Berlin. Now these people can come in freedom. It's a heady day for Germany.
It is.
It is just unbelievable. This lovely, lovely town and this lovely Gulf Coast demolished. What would happen if there was a Democratic president along with a Democratic Congress?
We tried that. We tried that 1977 through 1980.
One of the first bills I signed, now every legislator in South Carolina has to show their votes on the record, and we went a little step further. They now have to show their vote on every section of the budget.
He's a former prime minister and now defense minister, Yitzhak Rabin. And Mr. Rabin, it's again a pleasure to welcome you to the 700 Club.
Welcome to Israel and to Jerusalem.
Well, welcome to this special edition of the 700 Club. 50 years ago, on January the 11th, the charter was granted for the Christian Broadcasting Network Incorporated. What about this Obamacare?
You know, it's forcing a lot of employers, particularly small businesses, to alter their hiring practices.
Do you find the presence of God in a situation like that? There has to be inner peace to keep up with that.
Well, I have the inner peace. A lot of the news people don't understand it.
I was speaking yesterday to your premier, who I consider a good friend and who is a very intelligent man, that no country can survive strictly on materialism, but a quest for money, a quest for material prosperity without spiritual values will destroy a people. Switching to the tragic events of September the 11th, the headquarters of the Indian government in the capital city of New Delhi. So much has been said in this country and in Israel about the arms sales to Iran. Could you clarify the position of your country on that?
Well, it's very simple. Iran is one of the most important countries in our area.
As president, you certainly, and as a candidate, you were certainly never ashamed to say that you were a born-again Christian. In a sense, you popularized the term born again. The scant loss of life, and the thing is devastating. You would have thought that hundreds of people would have been killed.
No question it would have been had it not been for the evacuation.
Well, clearly terrorism, clearly hijacked. There's no way it could have happened otherwise. That's what we said at the beginning. It couldn't have possibly happened any other way. Today, we leave you with these words from 1 Corinthians. Thanks be to God who gives us the victory through our Lord Jesus Christ. Have the victory over the weekend, and we'll see you on Monday. Bye-bye.